the analysis. Okay, so what I'm saying is being recorded. Now, here we are linear, and you take it back. When we get on the other view, we'll take a look at this angle here to see if you're on the correct plane. You can't tell from this angle. Everything looks good though from this angle. And you make a beautiful turn. You have your head a little bit behind the ball, which is very good. Outstanding players have their spine tilting slightly to the right or away from the target. Perfect size swing where you're in control. You have a real nice little 90-degree angle between your arms and the shaft. Get a lot of power from that angle right there. Because you're a strong grip player, you pretty well know that you don't have to uncock your wrist too early, because if you did, you'd hit it left. So you come down and you really delay the arms and hands. This is, to me, would be a good power source. And so you're coming into it, and you have your hands arriving at the ball first. That's extraordinarily good. That's very much like Sergio, and highly unusual. This is most of the people that you'll see, that you'll help and teach and everything else, they're going to come into the ball and their left arm will be this way and the shaft will be this way when they make contact. Of course, that means that they're either hitting the ground behind the ball a little bit, or when they break it forward like this, the club is working upward so they can hit it fat and thin, you see. Whereas you're coming in with a real delay, and right after the ball's hit, your arm and the shaft get back to linear. And then releasing is merely the right arm and the shaft becoming linear, sort of like you're throwing the club down the fairway. That's very, very good. You got the toe pointing at the target. Very nice. And then great players always point the shaft back where the ball was in the follow-through. Ideally, it would be angled so it would actually point right at where the ball was. That would mean you're on the correct plane. And then that's just a beautiful finish with your head over your left foot. That's outstanding. Very nice, Todd. Excellent swing. Again, here's that linear look. Nice and relaxed and very simple. Then you have an amazing delay. Probably once in a while you get caught delaying it too much. I'm a fan of a strong grip. I think if you'll get the kids with a fairly strong grip at an early age, you'll help them out a lot. The reason I'm a fan of the strong grip is I think it's easier to play good golf if it's easy to square the face. If you're having a struggle and invent ways of squaring the face, then you're going to develop all sorts of bad habits like casting, and a person won't move over to his left foot either if he's hitting it dead right. You're going to stay back and try to pull it. So, yeah, some things, I'd rather a guy have a hooking problem, and then you teach him how not to hook it than to hit it dead right. This is just terrific right here. And what happens is the angle in the right hand and arm go from bent to straight, and that's a release right there. So you're releasing the club after you hit it, which is ideal. And then this is outstanding too. Your right shoulder, your right hip, and your right knee all finish past where the ball was. That's very important there, and you do that very well. Let's go to a back view. a good idea to draw a line through the shaft here. That gives you an idea. Ideally, you'd take the club kind of up the railing. Let's say it's a railing. A little bit on the vertical side. That first part's very good though, right there. Very, very good. It's a little bit vertical, and what I mean by vertical is if you drew a line down, it'd be a little bit inside the ball. So that's a hair on the steep side. When you come down, you tend to drop it a little bit more from the inside. That's really, really good. You can see the toe pointing at the ball there, and it's chasing the ball down the fairway. Now you finish a little vertical. You remember how I said you should point that at the ball? Ideally, it'd be pointing this way, so the shaft would be a little more angled, but you're so aware that you can hit it left that you sort of make sure you don't, so that's just a reaction to what you know about what you do. I want to mention it though, so if you're helping somebody, like if a guy's really hitting it dead right and he's finishing with the shaft straight up in the air at the end, got to talk him into finishing with the shaft more around,
Third base.
Yeah. This is real good here. That's just great. See right up the. That's just dead perfect. You just get it a little bit vertical, which could create a little steepness. But what I do like is when you come down, see how you're getting the head back along the railing there? So you're coming right down that rail, and that's just dead perfect. And in my view, if you're doing the right things in the important places, that's all that matters to me. That's exceptional. And then, not trying to whip the horse too much, but I'm just trying to say that finish is based on the fact that you got to watch out for left. This angle here, being parallel to that yellow line, would be what would be considered perfect. So if you have a guy that either has a weaker grip than you do, or he tends to not square his face too much, just finishing with the shaft a little more horizontal is a real good thing. Just terrific. By the time you get here, Todd, you got the shaft pretty much at the ball. So by the time you start down, you got it, and just pointing something out. That's a hair closed right there, and that's not that big a deal, except you got to know it. It's okay to be closed as long as you know it. Now, if the person doesn't know it, then he doesn't know what else he has to do to succeed. What you do really well is you come down and you know that your hands are supposed to arrive at the ball before the head does. Now you just guard a little bit.
I think my shoulders are lined up too far left.
You're a little bit left with it.
I know you're supposed to cross. The feet are lined up a little right, the shoulders line up.
Yeah, you're a little bit open.
Think it hurt to close up the shoulders a little bit?
You can try it. I saw that too, but I hesitate. I see so many good things, and as long as you're aware of where the target is, just remember I told you this. Feel free to try that, but I think by aiming a hair left, it helps you delay the club a little more with your hands, because you know that if you don't, you're going to hit it left. Lee Trevino, Paul Azinger, David Duvall, when he really could play, some of those guys would line up left, and they had a real strong grip and a closed face, all the things you do. But when they came down, they would have their hands arrive first, and therefore the ball never went left. Those guys cut the ball. You don't necessarily, but and this is just for a suggestion. Give that a shot if you want to, but if you start turning it over too fast, I wouldn't stick with it, because the shoulders being a little squared up or closed might make your hands uncock a little earlier, and you might start fighting left pretty bad. So you might just kind of give it a try and see what you think. But that's dead perfect. I'd like to frame that picture and put it up on the wall, and because I tell people every week that the hands have to arrive over the ball before the head does. Now, a guy will never do that if he slices. The slicer won't do this, because the slicer is trying to figure out how to square the face up, so he's going to throw that head. So the only way I've ever discovered to teach a guy this is to get him hooking the ball, and when he sees that the club is closing faster than he wants to, you can talk him into coming in with a later release. That's magnificent. The only guy on the wall there that looks like that is Sergio Garcia. That is really, really good. And then what I like about it, see that angle right there down your right arm? You're letting the right arm, you know how a boxer straightens his arm? Okay, you're letting the right arm go from a bent angle to a straight one. That's a release right there. See that? So you're not holding on to it all the way. You're not fighting it all the way through. You're letting it release. Yeah, you're letting it release. It's just that the ball's gone, and to me that's the best way to play. Have the ball gone before you release it. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing about this. That is superb. I like everything about it. Your head's over your left shoe. Your right shoulder is closer to the target than your left shoulder. You're even. I'm being a little bit. I don't mean to sound complicated. I'm just trying to tell you everything that happens positive when you swing well. See the left toe? It's about a quarter inch off the ground. Great players finish on their left heel. It means they rotate it all the way through. And you're doing all those things. So I don't see a thing. Let me. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, you got this a little bit this way. When you hit it, though, it's pretty square to where you're trying to go. I'm not sure I would change that. I mean, feel free to try it. But I think you use that a little bit you can see the target easier from where you are. And I think you use it to tell you yourself that you'd rather come in and delay the release than the worst mistake you could make is aim too far right, because then you'd have to release it earlier to hit it straight, and then it would be hard for you to control how early, you see. Quite frankly, I'm just real pleased with your golf swing. You need to show off once in a while to the kids now. You're real talented, and you don't have to do it obnoxiously, and you don't have to lose being a humble person. Just show them little peeks of how talented you are so that they get fired up about listening to you. When you don't have to talk them into listening, it's very helpful. The thing that's happened to me over time as a teacher is you end up getting people expecting you to know what you're talking about, and so they don't fight you. They don't resist what you tell them because they've had too many other people tell them how amazing you are as a teacher and how amazing you are as a player. You want to kind of build that part up so that when people are telling other people, most of the teaching you're going to do your whole life is going to be somebody else telling that other guy to come see you. Until I quit 4 years ago for a while, I had never advertised. I started out roughly your age down at Deer Track, and I started gave one lesson, and that guy was happy, so he went and told somebody else, and he told somebody else, and I got 2 guys, and then pretty soon I had to go get an appointment book because I couldn't remember that the only lesson this week was Wednesday at 10. I had to start writing them down, and it just grew and grew and grew, and that's what's going to happen. And let me tell you something. You can make some pretty good money doing it, and you probably will never charge what you're worth. Okay, I don't charge what I could go to Florida and charge way more money, but so I try to charge what I think I'll get a decent number of people to, and I like for somebody to come to me more than once, because you might be right about what they need to do, but you might need to spend more than one lesson with them to get them to do it. So I'd rather not charge an arm and a leg and make a guy have to make a decision. My God, I can't spend that kind of money. And I'd rather be able to come and see me twice or more. But I mean, you're amazingly talented. I mean, look at how I even like this. See this right here? You are rotating your body so well. You know, if a guy threw a discus, how you'd wheel around, you're doing it so well that your right heel even flares out that way when you're finished. I mean, you're completely releasing your body by rotating through the ball. So this golf swing is pretty good, Todd. And I'm comparing it to tour players, okay? I'm not just saying it's pretty good for being a high school coach. I'm talking about this is good stuff. Watch on your downswing how your hips are beginning to turn around, and then as you hit it, you're just turning your chest and your hips, and your chest and your hips just turn with your hands, and you're facing the target. It doesn't even look violent. They have a very smooth look. That's excellent. And that's just perfect right there. When you can get the toe chasing the ball down the fairway, and then you just, I laugh a little bit because I can relate to you. Arnold Palmer was a great player when he was young, and sadly he played way longer than he could play. But what I'm saying is he always had to hold on to it a little bit at the end, and it always had a little odd look. Yours doesn't because you're so smooth, but it got uglier as it got older. But you remind me of him in that you got the club squaring, and you got to make sure it doesn't overclose, and that's how he played. And that's just great. All right. Any questions about anything? Man, I'm not sure I'd change anything there. You know, and you're talking to a guy who you can usually see negative things. You know, you're a little vertical. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing you a little bit less vertical. But I have to tell you, when you start down, that couldn't be better no matter what you did. Okay? So that's as good as it gets. The face is a hair closed. It's about a degree or a degree and a half close. And my only reason for pointing that out is when you come into the ball, you just have to know that you can't allow it to close up more. And you have to be careful about perhaps hitting it left. And then that's just a little bit of it's not a blocked finish with your body. Your body does a great job. You're just blocking it a little bit at the end I'm not too worried about that because that's a reaction to feel, and it's not caused. It's not affecting the ball one bit. So I don't care about that. But I could use your swing as a demo. I could put that in the computer and show other people this golf swing, and I'd be helping them. Outstanding. I hope you can get the guys on your team to swing more like you. All right.